My name is Michael Neece, and today we're having a conscious conversation with Debbie Clement-Large. She is the founder and CEO of whyfollowtheherd.com, which is a coaching practice, actually an internationally and award-winning coaching practice that combines two interesting things that I hadn't heard of before. She's combining traditional coaching with spiritual psychology so that we can live our life and work in a more wholehearted way. And our conversation is about how to confidently discover prosperity in your work passion. So Debbie, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us from across the pond today.
Thank you, Michael. It's my absolute pleasure to be here. It's really nice to be talking to you.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to combine traditional coaching with spiritual psychology?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, isn't it? I think that kind of started from right back when I was 15. I lost my dad. He was there one morning, he took me to school, and then he went home, had a day off, and had a massive heart attack. And that was a really difficult part of my life and was a huge change that I had to deal with. And that change lasted quite a few years. And it was the discovery of personal development books that really helped me to change back when I was about 19. So already I was becoming interested in personal development. Now, like a lot of people, we take on wrong careers, we do things and make choices for wrong reasons. And I did that. I ended up becoming a chartered management accountant because it was offered to me on a plate, not because it was a job that felt fulfilling and I felt joyous about doing it. I could do it and I was very good at it, but it didn't make my heart sing. And then I became an internationally qualified business analyst, and it got me in the range of transformation and change. And it was there that I saw that people were really struggling to deal with change. And I know how they felt because I'd struggled to deal with change. And in order for me to be able to help them, I saw that traditional coaching methods weren't enough. They were a bit like sticking a plaster over a cut. So they were helping on the surface level, but they weren't getting underneath. So you could help, somebody would help you to do a project, say you wanted to build a shed, but if I wanted to come back and build something else later, I needed that person to be able to help me through the process again. Whereas spiritual psychology helps you to understand what's going on at a deeper level, what your resistance is, who you really are, what you really want, what your passion is. Are you heading in the right direction? It helps you to get balance over health, relationships, money, work, but it also helps you to deal with change. So for me, this was like the fundamental importance really around coaching was the traditional stuff, building a shed, doing A to B, making a project, but really getting underneath the fact of what's holding me back from doing this? Where can I get a greater sense of balance and a wholehearted life? So really the combination of the two for me is really powerful.
Yeah, that feels very powerful. And it feels, like you said, beyond just the plaster of nuts and bolts, build a shed, finish a project, which really that leaves you pretty unsatisfied unless you were the one who really wanted to build a shed.
Yeah. And if you really wanted to build a shed in the first place, why haven't you done it? Because if you really wanted to build it, you would have done it. So there was something that's getting in your way.
Well, you also mentioned the ability to handle change, and most of the planet has gone through a massive disruption. Can you share a little bit of insights of what you're seeing from your clients and any advice as to how people can better handle the disruption that's being forced upon us?
Yeah, change is a really interesting thing because it can come from two perspectives. It can come from change that you instigate and change that we feel is forced upon us. And of course, we have different responses to those things. And the thing you're talking about really is where change is forced upon us, where we maybe have lost a job or we lose a relationship, or our income is dried up, we've lost friendships, we feel isolated. All of those are different types of loss. And there are different ways that we can deal with it. And one of the ways that is really important is to think about how you're emotionally reacting to that change. Because if you're reacting in a frustrated or an irritated way, if you're feeling angry about what's going on because you're isolated, you can't get out there and do certain things, you're feeling restricted, if you're feeling angry or bitter or blaming an organization for letting you go, these are all emotions where we're giving our power away. We're saying, I would be happy if that organization hadn't let me go. I would be happy if the economy was buoyant. I would be happy if my money was coming to me easily and effortlessly. I would be happy if I could see my family. So when we're saying that, we're just giving our power away to somebody else. We're saying that organization has to act in a certain way in order for me to be happy. But is that really true? Really, our happiness always comes from within us. We are the creators of our happiness. And if we're the creators of our happiness, we are the creators of our own safety. Therefore, we are in a better position to be able to handle change, because that change comes from within us. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Totally. And we're going through a period where people feel like they don't have much control over the change that's being forced upon them. I mean, we feel like, I didn't have a choice. So do you have any pearls of wisdom that would help someone watching you right now, help them handle this disruption and move their life and their career forward?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to tell you a story, because this is really, and it's really relevant. So that in the day we went into lockdown in the UK, I was due to have a new kitchen fitted. So that very morning, my new kitchen was delivered. And I can remember being on the phone to the company that I was buying the kitchen from, saying, "You're delivering it. My kitchen fitter has just phoned up saying he doesn't want to come around today, just in case we go into lockdown, because if we do go into lockdown, he doesn't want to have ripped my kitchen out and I've got nothing." And I can remember saying to the company, "But I also don't want all the kitchen being delivered, because I haven't got the space to hold a new kitchen in boxes." So the assistant manager said to me, "Take the delivery anyway. And if we do go into lockdown, we'll be able to pick it up for you." And I went, "Okay, all right, on that basis, I'll accept it." So the new kitchen was delivered. It took up most of our dining room. So our dining room furniture was in our living room. We had stripped our kitchen out of, it was completely empty. So all the contents were in boxes, some boxes in the living room, some in the conservatory. It was everywhere. And of course, then that night we went into lockdown. 8 weeks later, they started on our kitchen. So they've done our kitchen this week. Okay. This week. So we lived with the boxes and the disruption and everything packed up for 8 weeks. And my neighbor said to me at the time, "You must be feeling really frustrated. You must be really irritated with all of that." And I said to him, "What would be the point? Who would be feeling irritated and frustrated?" "Well, it would be me." Can I control the situation? Can I control the fact that I have boxes? No. Can I control the fact that we have a virus going around? No. Can I control the fact that the fitter can't come around? No. So is there a point of me doing that? I've got to find in this way acceptance in this moment, that the reality as it is okay, because that's what it is. And if I can't find a level of acceptance, all I'm doing is creating my own suffering. I'm creating my own inner pain, and I'm putting myself into a place of stress, not feeling good. And actually, stress and our lifestyle choices relate to 90% of our illness. So dealing and understanding how we react to things, how we react to all the choices, losing a job, not having a kitchen fitted, the restrictions that we've got. How can you find peace? How can you find acceptance in this moment? What can you have control over changing, and what don't you have control over changing? And only look to change the things that you can control.
There's a lot of wisdom in all those things that you just said. If, say that someone's watching us right now, do you have some words of wisdom about handling the change that's being thrust upon us and how to deal with it and how to think about it differently so we feel more empowered rather than unempowered.
Yeah, and I guess it depends on the situation. I mean, if you're talking about this in a work, in terms of our work, it's the language you use is so important. It's being your own coach, if you can, is critical. Not sitting there thinking, poor me, going into victim mode where we think, oh, poor me, I'd be happy if. I'm useless. Who's going to want to employ me? I'm never going to get anything. I'm never going to get any money. I don't know how I'm going to live. And we find that suddenly we're snowballing downwards into an awful way of feeling. And we can go from just a mild concern to worry, to frustration, to being scared, right down to feeling hopeless, all through our inner dialogue. But instead, we can have a look at coaching ourselves and say, okay, this is a situation. This is the reality in which I find myself. I've lost my job. I haven't got any more money coming in, or I've got a kitchen being delivered and I can't have it fitted, or anything else. I can't see my grandkids or my family or anything else that's going on, and say, right, that's kind of what is. How can I find a level of peace and acceptance with that? How can I nurture and love myself and feel good in me? What can I say to me that will make me feel good? That it's only temporary, that I am skilled and I know other people will want to be with me, want to employ me. I will be working again. That I can create my own safety through my words. I can learn to breathe, to stop, to be consciously aware of how I'm talking to myself and what I'm saying, and just being gentle and loving with ourselves. It is all coming back to finding that inner peace and not beating ourselves up.
Yeah, I'm getting calm just hearing you say the words. Thanks. Now, what seems to be a life catalyst that someone encounters where they start to seek out a coach like you?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. People come for all sorts of reasons. People come because they've had something in their past that is having an impact on their present. And actually, all of us have an impact on the present from things that have happened in the past. But, we've all got varying degrees of it. So I could tell, for me, my journey was that there was stuff around my dad, and losing my dad, not feeling I had any support. My friends didn't know what to say, so they disappeared. My family gathered around my mum to help, and I was sort of left. Not intentionally, but that's just the way it happened. And I had a load of stuff going on within me that I had to, well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to resolve. I wanted to let go of, because I could feel it was impacting me and my life. And other people do. Some people have childhood traumas. They have incidences and experiences in their adulthood. They might have lots of job losses where they're thinking, oh, it's me, and taking it personally, when really it was just the situation. It could be, I have business owners that don't want to just know the nuts and bolts, but want to gain the mindset and the attitude of success, because they've been told maybe that they're not good enough, and they've set out to prove themselves to other people. And I'll be happy when I'm successful enough, but being successful enough never turns up. So there's a whole range of different things like that, and we've all got stuff that that either gets in our way, that is like baggage we're carrying around. We're not born with a manual. When I had my kitchen, I had a new oven, new hob. I had manuals. But when I was born, where was my manual? So my manual was created by the people that loved me and did their best by me. But they were coming from a faulty perspective too. So they were passing on their baggage to me, their fears, their stuff, which then I took on board and started to live with. But actually, when we start doing spiritual psychology work and really getting to understand ourselves on a deeper level, we realize that how much of what we've learned is just getting in our way, limiting us. We end up self-sabotaging ourselves. We put blocks on ourselves. We criticize ourselves. We talk to ourselves in ways that maybe our family did. And all this can limit what we achieve. It can limit the job we go for. It can limit the type of relationships we have. It can limit the amount of money we attract. And it has an impact on our health too, and how we deal with change. So actually, getting self-mastery over ourselves is the greatest gift you can ever give yourself. Talking that from personal experience, it has been the best and most life-changing thing I have ever done.
Wow. That I could talk to you all day, but let's see. Is there three? So when, as someone is listening to you right now, are there three things that someone could take away from this video with you that could help move them toward improving the quality of their life?
Okay, the first thing I would probably say is to breathe. Breathing is one of the most important things we can do. It helps stop us from knee-jerking. And when we get stressed, we breathe from the chest. We don't breathe from the belly. And actually taking some deep breaths and just pausing for a moment and just stopping and just reassessing is like seriously important. Yeah, rather than getting run off and caught up in that snowball effect that I talked about. So that's like the first thing. The second thing is to learn to love and appreciate yourself a little more, to talk to yourself in a loving way, to being aware that often we're more critical to ourselves than we would dream of being to anybody else, that we can be harder, we can be tougher, we can be more judgmental, we can be downright awful to ourselves at times, but we wouldn't dream of talking to anybody else like that. And when we realize that change doesn't come from criticism, it doesn't come from judgment, it comes from loving ourselves and approving of ourselves. And just learning how to be softer and gentler with ourselves. And the third, lastly thing I would say is once you get a mastery over your language, we can really use our imagination, which is one of the most powerful tools we have, to see ourselves, to visualize ourselves, to feel ourselves in the place in which we want to be, in that job, in that relationship, having those things, being that type of person, having the health. All those wonderful things come from the way we talk and the imagination and the feeling we put behind it. We can be really good at scaring ourselves and using our imagination to be fearful, but how about using our imagination to power up and see ourselves in the role or in the position that we really, really want to be?
Wow, there's a lot in what you just said. I could probably spend another half an hour on each one of those three dimensions that you just described. But for people that want to learn more about you and how to get some more resources, where do they do next? How do they find you?
They can find me at whyfollowtheherd.com, or they can email me at debbie@whyfollowtheherd.com. I have online resources, some online videos and some audio programs that can really help kickstart your journey. Or there's one-to-one coaching, there's workshops for businesses, there's different ways that you can really change who you are, change the environment around you, and create some positivity. So actually, that's a really good start.
Well, Debbie, this has been an exceptionally informative and inspiring. I've learned a great deal, and I'm going to reach out to you, so I hope everyone else does. So thanks for spending some time with me today to share some of your wisdom, and it sounds like you have a lot more to share. So I'll certainly be taking up on, accessing some of your wisdom. So thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.